The world doesn't reward speed, it rewards clarity. It doesn't praise noise, it praises wisdom. And in a time where everyone's in a race to speak first, the person who speaks last and speaks with depth wins the room. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world moving at 1,000 miles per hour, where everyone is screaming over each other just to be heard, not understood, where speed is glorified but substance is dying, there lies a secret power that only the few wise minds understand. It is to think faster but talk slower. Let me tell you, this is not about how fast your mouth moves or how slow your lips part. This is about mental power, control, command, and most importantly, impact. We've all been in that moment where your mind has a brilliant idea, but your words fail you. Or worse, where you blurt something out too quickly, and it costs you your reputation, your opportunity, or your credibility. Never miss a chance to shut up, they say. But I say, never miss a chance to pause and own the moment. Because when you think fast, you become sharp. But when you talk slow, you become unforgettable. Let me give you a truth that will rattle your bones. The most powerful people in the room aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who speak with timing, with depth, with conviction that makes people lean in, not tune out. Success is not for the one who reacts fastest, it's for the one who responds smartest. And today, I'll show you how to sharpen your mind like a bladey, control your words like a master, and walk into any conversation like you're already 10 steps ahead, even if you say only 10 words. The power of mental agility is the difference between reacting and responding, between blurting and delivering. It is the difference between sounding average and sounding a legendary. Mental agility isn't just about being smart, it's about being sharp, fast, controlled. It's about having your mind so trained, so tuned, so focused that in the middle of pressure, your brain doesn't freeze it for fires. While most people crumble under pressure, the agile mind rises. Look around you. The world isn't slow anymore. We are surrounded by noise, flooded with opinions, pulled into 100 directions. You walk into a room, and everyone's already trying to one-up each other, out-talk each other, outsmart each other. But the one who actually wins is the one who doesn't rush to speak. They think faster and talk slower because their brain is a weapon and they know exactly when to pull the trigger. Let me give you a real-life example. Have you ever watched a master negotiator? They don't interrupt. They don't overtalk. They listen. They absorb. They observe. And then, when they finally speak, every word feels heavy, calculated, controlled. That's mental agility. That's what happens when the brain is sharper than the emotions, when the mind is faster than the mouth. Mental agility isn't a talent. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's trained through discomfort, practice, and deliberate focus. It's built in those moments when your ego wants to react, but your intelligence tells you to wait. When someone insults you and your emotions scream to clap back, but your wisdom says, let them talk, and you will walk away with your dignity intact. It's like playing chess. You don't win by moving fast, you win by thinking ahead. 3 moves, 5 moves, 10 moves. The brain that's agile isn't just responding to what's in front of it. It's already seen what's coming next. It has practiced awareness. It has studied patterns. It has built the muscle of delayed reaction and has instant clarity. In daily life, this shows up everywhere. You're in a meeting. Someone challenges your idea. Most people panic, get defensive, stumble over words. But the agile thinker, they pause, they smile, they speak one line that silences the whole room. Why? Because they were not trying to prove something. They were trying to win something. And to win, you don't need speed. You need precision. In relationships, too. Mental agility means you don't always fall into the trap of emotional traps. Someone tries to bait you into an argument. Someone misjudges your intentions. Most people jump right in, raising voices, losing control. But you stay calm, you watch, you assess. And then, with a single sentence, you make them rethink everything. Because when you control your mind, you control the outcome. Here's a powerful truth: the fastest brain is not the one that talks the most. It's the one that knows when to stay silent. Silence isn't empty, it's loaded. A pause is not weakness, it's availability. The mentally agile don't just speak when they're ready. They speak when the moment is right. That's how their words echo. That's how their words sting, if they inspire, or shift the room. Think of the greats, the ones who lead nations, command stages, inspire millions. They don't race through words. They don't blurt thoughts. They measure their words like gold. They let silence breathe between sentences. They let their mind scan the room before their mouth delivers the message. That is the mark of great mental agility, the ability to be fast internally And calm externally. You want to be that person, not the one who panics under pressure, not the one who regrets what they said. You want to be the one who, in the middle of chaos, smiles, breathes, and then delivers a response so sharp it flips the whole situation. Because here's the secret. When you master your thoughts, your words become weapons. When you can think faster, spot the truth, sense the trap, calculate the outcome, while the other person is still reacting emotionally, you are not just ahead in the conversation. You are ahead in Z life. Mental agility gives you power without volume, influence without aggression, respect without begging for attention, and it makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Because when others expect you to explode, you remain composed. When they expect a loud response, you answer with sharp calm. That throws people off. That makes them listen. That gives you control. Train your mind to be faster than your emotions. Train your mind to be faster than your fear. Train your mind to be faster than your old self. Because the person who can outthink their own patterns can outlive any challenge. The art of slow speech is not just about speaking slowly. It's about owning every word. It's about creating space between thoughts and expression. It's about delivering your voice like it matters, because it does. In a world that's shouting over itself, those who speak slowly, intentionally, and clearly, they pierce through the noise like thunder across silence. Think about the last time you heard someone speak in a rush, stumbling, mumbling, running out of breath, trying to say everything at once. Did you feel inspired? Did you even remember what they said? Probably not. Because rush speech lacks weight. It lacks confidence. It feels like the person is chasing their words, not leading them. Now picture the opposite. Imagine someone stepping onto a stage, the crowd goes quiet, and instead of jumping into their speech, they pause while they look around, and then they speak, not loudly but clearly, slowly, each word hanging in the air like it was carved in stone. That's the kind of voice that commands respect. That's the kind of speaker people remember years later, because slow speech signals power. It shows the world that you are in control, not just of your voice, but of your thoughts, emotions, and the moment itself. People think talking fast makes them look smart, but in truth, it often reveals panic. It shows you're trying to prove yourself, that you're uncertain. But the person who can slow down in the middle of pressure, that's the one who controls the room. Because their words don't just inform, they impact. They land with authority. Real life example, you're in an interview. The interviewer throws a tough question your way. Most people rush to fill the silence, afraid to look unprepared. But the smart ones, they smile, they pause, they breathe, and then they speak slowly, choosing words like a master selects tools. And suddenly, they sound like a leader, calm, collected, confident. Another example, you're in a heated argument. Voices are flying, emotions are high. One person is yelling, defending, losing control. But the other, the one who stays quiet for a moment, then speaks with slow, deliberate words, they steal the spotlight. Their tone cuts through the chaos like a blade. Because when everything is loud, calmness becomes power. It's not about being dramatic. It's about being deliberate, about giving every sentence a gravity. Because what you say can change a moment, but how you say it can change a life. When you speak slowly, you give others time to absorb, to feel, to connect. That's how influence is built. That's how leaders rise. That's how relationships deepen, not through floods of words, but through meaningful expression. In daily life, start noticing the moments you rush, the moments you feel the pressure to answer fast, to defend yourself, to keep up, and then stop, breathe, speak slowly, and feel the shift. Suddenly, you're not reacting, you're guiding. You're not trying to be impressive, you are impressive. Because there's a secret hidden in slow speech. People start leaning in. They listen more carefully. They wait for your next word. That's magnetic. That's influence. That's a level of control that fast talkers never get to experience. The best communicators, the ones who change boardrooms, build empires, move millions, they all understand this, it's not how much you say. It's how deeply you make people feel what you say, and the slower your words, the deeper they travel. It's the same in love, in leadership, in every conversation that matters. The one who can slow their speech, measure their tone, and let their words breathe. They win trust, they win hearts, they win the long game. Train yourself to speak not with speed, but with strength. Let your voice be the kind that doesn't just speak to people, but through them. Practice pausing mid-sentence. Practice letting silence do the heavy lifting. Practice looking someone in the eye and saying less, but meaning more. Because in a world full of noise, the rarest power is a presency, and slow speech is the doorway to that presence. It tells the world, I am not here to rush. I am here to lead. It tells your mind, I trust myself enough to not panic. And it tells your audience, you better listen, because what I'm about to say matters. Commanding respect without competing for attention. Commanding respect without competing for attention is a superpower in today's loud, attention-hungry world. We live in a time where everyone is chasing likes, screaming opinions, showing off, trying to be the loudest voice in the room. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The one who is calm, composed, and strategic wins. The one who doesn't chase attention but radiates authentic presence. Earns respect that noise can never buy. Respect doesn't come from yelling louder. It doesn't come from forcing your story down someone's throat. It doesn't come from showing off what you have. It comes from who you are when no one is clapping. It comes from how you carry yourself when nobody is looking. That's when the real command is built. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. You need to know yourself so deeply, so truly, that people feel your strength before you even open your mouth. When you walk into a room, don't try to outshine people. Just walk in like you belong. Don't shrink, don't shout. Just stand tall and let your energy speak before your voice does. It's not about being invisible. It's about being undeniable. When someone is truly powerful, they don't have to declare it. They don't have to beg for validation. People sense it in their tone, their timing, their stillness. That's where the real respect is, not in noise, but in control. Have you ever seen someone enter a room and immediately change the atmosphere? Not by talking, not by bragging, but just by being there. That's not luck. That's not personality. That's the presence. That's the result of someone who has built their character brick by brick, decision by decision when nobody was watching. And now, their very existence demands attention without asking for it. Daily life is full of examples. Think of that student who never interrupts the class, never tries to be the center of attention, but when they speak, everyone listens. Or that employee who doesn't talk in every meeting, but when they raise a point, it carries weight. Why? Because they've earned the respect. They've observed, they've learned, they've built trust, not noise. And that trust turns into influence. You don't need to post every achievement. You don't need to shout your worth. You don't need to defend your intelligence at every challenge. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing and let results speak. Let your track record talk. Let your silence roar. A lion doesn't need to announce it's a lion. It just walks through the jungle, and everything else it knows. That's how your energy should be. Your presence should speak before your mouth does. Your focus, your discipline. Your calmness in chaos, that's what sets you apart, not volume, value. People don't remember those who scream for attention. They remember those who didn't need to. The ones who stood with quiet confidence. The ones who listened more than they spoke. The ones who moved with clarity, not chaos. When you focus on building inner strength, external respect becomes automatic. You can't command a room by competing with clowns. Let them perform. Let them exhaust themselves proving their worth. You move in silence and let your results make the noise. Because respect isn't hunted, it's magnetized. It comes to those who don't chase it. And when it arrives, it stays. Here's a truth that can change your life. People might ignore your words, but they can't ignore your energy. If your energy is grounded, disciplined, and clear, it will cut through any crowd, any noise, any distraction. You will be noticed, not because you shouted, but because you shine differently. In a group conversation, don't fight to be heard. Wait for your moment. Speak with weight, not with rush. When you do speak, speak like it matters. Not like you're trying to impress, but like you already belong. People will remember the one who brought meaning, not the one who brought volume. Never underestimate the power of being the calmest person in the room. When everyone else is reacting, you're observing. When they're panicking, you're planning. When they're fighting for attention, you're building your reputation quietly. And in the end, that quiet consistency becomes undeniable power. If you want to be respected, stop chasing attention. Start creating value, stop showing off, start showing up. Let your character speak louder than your voice. Let your standards walk ahead of your words. Because those who chase applause usually fade, but those who command respect, their presence becomes unforgettable. And now, as you walk away from these words, I want you to remember something that will echo in every room you step into, every conversation you enter, and every challenge you face. You are not here to compete with noise. You are here to become the voice Eve. The kind of voice that doesn't beg to be heard but commands attention through presence, through purpose, through the sheer power of calm and clarity. In a world that rewards speed, you will rise by mastering the art of intentional slowness. In a generation obsessed with being first to speak, you will become legendary by being the last to speak, and the one they never forget. You will not be the person who fills silence with panic, but the one who paints silence with power. When others rush, you will rise. When others react, you will respond. And that difference, that little space between impulse and intelligence, that's where greatness is born. He who conquers others is strong, he who conquers himself is mighty. And you will not just conquer your fears, your doubts, your past patterns. You will master your mind. You will think 10 times faster than your fear can scream. And yet, you will speak 10 times slower than your pride would ever want. Because you've learned the one who controls their tongue controls the outcome. The most powerful people in history weren't those who shouted the loudest. They were those who waited, watched, and then delivered words so strong the world paused. That's your level. That's your potential. You are not meant to scream for validation. You are meant to breathe and speak with authority. Every pause you take, every moment of silence before you speak, that's not hesitation. That's intelligence making its move. Let them underestimate your silence, because your silence isn't empty, it's loading. Let them doubt your calm, because your calm isn't weakness, it's precision in disguise. And let them think you're slow, until your slow words shake their fast worlds. You weren't born to blend into the noise. You were born to rise above it. Not by speaking more, but by saying what it matters, when it matters. You weren't built to react like the rest. You were built to think like the few, the sharp, the focused, the ones who lead through depth, not volume. Remember the words of Winston Churchill? Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And you'll be the one with both. The courage to stay silent when the world rushes, and the courage to speak with purpose when the moment demands greatness. Every conversation you enter after this, pause, breathe, think, then speak. Let every word you say be deliberate. Let every sentence carry strength. Don't flood people with noise, flood them with meaning. Don't try to impress them with speed, move them with substance. Because the one who thinks faster but talks slower is the one who speaks like a king, walks like a queen, leads like a legend. Their words don't fly, they land. And from today forward, the wise man speaks because he has something to say. The fool speaks because he has to say something. Be wise, be thoughtful, be unforgettable. You are no longer part of the noise. You are the voice that rises through it. So think faster, talk slower, and watch the world listen like it never has before.